So Megan is also having freak offs. I'm telling you, people in the music industry, people in the entertainment industry, period, are crazy. But anyway, so let's get into this lawsuit. Megan forcing her cameraman to watch her as she had sex in the car. I'm going to quickly read the Neighborhood Talks write-up about what happened, how he was harassed by Megan, how he was forced to watch Megan be intimate with someone else. Megan Thee Stallion sued by her former cameraman for allegedly forcing him to watch her have sex in a moving car. Don't you ever discuss what you saw. Anyway, so let me pull up my laptop close to me, and then I'm gonna tell you more about what was left out in the Neighborhood Talk write-up. So Megan Thee Stallion is being sued by her former cameraman for several things: unpaid wages, making him feel uncomfortable, fat shaming him. This is pretty much sounding like, what's her name? Lizzo 2.0, right? Remember Lizzo, her dancers alleged that Lizzo was fat shaming them, which was crazy, given that Lizzo herself is an overweight woman, and she was making them do things that were sexually inappropriate, right? So now it seems Megan has been having her own freak offs, okay? Borrow from Diddy. Anyway, so the summary reads: it looks like Megan Thee Stallion is the latest celebrity to find herself as the subject of a sexual, lawsuit. And I'm gonna put it right here for you guys to read along with me. According to NBC, a cameraman is alleging that he was forced to watch her have sex with another woman. The cameraman, Emilio Garcia, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, says he was trapped inside a vehicle with Megan while the whole thing went down. After the incident, he says Megan told him, "Don't you ever discuss what you saw." Now, we could understand she's a celebrity. She doesn't want that in the public. So I could understand, especially if he's not on an NDA, and we know celebrities abuse NDA, they misuse them. But for her to say that, maybe she just needed to reinforce that with her words. Don't know. So she tells him, "Don't you ever discuss what you saw," and berated him, fat shamed him, and treated him differently. Anyway, so let's continue. Well, he's discussing what he allegedly saw in court through the lawsuit, of course. Well, in Spain in 2022, Garcia says he was in a vehicle with Megan and 3 other women. He says Megan and one of the women began having sex in the moving car. Now, this answers so many people online who are saying, well, why were you watching? Why didn't you just get out of the car? Why didn't you just leave? Was she asking you to film the entire thing? Well, the car was moving. What was he supposed to do? Jump out a moving car? Now, this is assuming that what he's saying is true, right? So if it is true and this happened in a moving car, we can understand why he's saying he was forced, basically trapped, right? Anyway, I'm getting over a cold, guys. Anyway, so he said, "I felt uncomfortable. It was Sorry, let me read that again. He said, "I felt uncomfortable. I was kind of frozen." I would be too in such a situation, especially in a moving car. "And I was shocked at the overall audacity to do this beside me," Garcia told NBC. It's not only beside him. And if I'm counting right, it seems there were 6 occupants in the car: the driver, Megan, the cameraman, and the 3 women. That makes them 6. So 5 were passengers and 1 the driver. They could have been more than 6, but just from what I'm reading, at least I count 6 people. So Megan is doing this not only in front of Garcia, the other 2 women, and obviously the driver may not be watching, but he can hear what's happening. And if it's true, it gives me the impression that this is maybe not the first time Megan is doing this. And the fact that she did it in front of those other women with the other woman, the other woman, it seems, did not stop Megan, right? So it makes me feel like that group of women maybe do such things. That's why, or maybe the other 2 were just as uncomfortable, assuming that what he's alleging is true. I'm not saying what he's saying is true. I'm just going according to what's in the lawsuit, right? He says the following day, Megan asked him, was he in the vehicle? Megan must have been drunk. We know Megan had a drinking problem, like liquor drinking problem. She must have been drunk, clearly, to behave like that in front of all these people. So much so that she didn't notice that the cameraman was in the car. After he said yes, that's when she allegedly gave him the warning we mentioned earlier, which is, don't you ever in your life discuss what you saw. As for the fat shaming, he says, well, on the trip, she said things like fat, bish, and told him to spit your food out and you don't need to be eating. This is crazy if true, right? People who are overweight compared to the rest of us who may be in the normal, I don't mean overweight like, 10, 20 pounds or 50 pounds. I mean people clinically who may be on the obese side of things. What we may see as overeating to them is normal. When we eat and we get satisfied, they're not. So we have to be careful when you berate people like that. If Megan wanted to help him, there's a better way she could have gone about it. Like, maybe I want everybody on my team to be healthy. And they were in Spain. Spain is known for tapas, right? Those are small portioned food. Because she was the superstar, she was the one paying, she could simply order tapas, right? And limit how much she ordered for him. That's not to starve him, but to gradually getting him used to eating smaller portions. And honestly, looking at his picture, I don't know how old this picture is that the Neighborhood Talk used. To me, he doesn't look obese. He doesn't look overweight. He looks like a normal sized guy. Now, again, like I said, I don't know how old this picture is, but he says Megan created a very hostile work environment for him. The harassment was so severe and pervasive, he explained. Is it pervasive? Right, that word. Garcia began working with Megan as her personal cameraman in 2018. He stopped working with Megan in 2023, so just last year, so less than a year ago, I think, okay? He says after the trip, he saw a decrease in booking from Megan and a pay structure change. I'm going to explain this. He says there is no HR department in the entertainment industry. That is very true. So he's advocating for himself. He says Megan also misclassified him as an independent contractor instead of an employee. So he was unable to get health care. Now, employers are supposed to offer healthcare to their employees, especially if they have, I think, above a certain number. If you employ above a certain number of people, you are supposed to offer them healthcare. Now, an independent contractor, you're not really an employee of the person you're not working for them, you're working with them. For example, YouTubers, we are not employees of Google or the ABC company that owns Google, which owns YouTube, right? We are independent contractors. So they pay us for whatever rate they do, the CPM. It's a lot of explaining. Just know that we are not employees of YouTube. YouTube may pay us, but we're not their employees. We're independent contractors. So we don't get health care, all right? Remember that girl who was accusing, you remember that girl who died, is it last week or 2 weeks ago? A TikToker, she died because she was using copyrighted material on her page. And apparently Jennifer Lopez and her team struck her page, or whatever you call those things on TikTok. I don't think they're channels, whatever, struck her page. Allegedly she was making like 6 figures, like close to $750,000 a year from TikTok sponsorships. But once Jennifer Lopez and her people struck her page, she couldn't make money anymore. She lost everything she had built on TikTok. And apparently she was a cancer patient going through cancer treatments and paying straight out of pocket. But since her page was struck, she could not make money anymore. Again, because she's not an employee of TikTok, she was not getting health care. But that's another story. I personally don't think Jennifer Lopez had anything to do with that girl dying. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of remind you a similar situation where somebody was making a lot of money but did not have health care, which blows my mind that you're making $750,000 or more a year and you didn't go get Obamacare? Like, why? Like, YouTubers who are making a lot of money, I hope you have health care, because all it takes is one bad health situation for you to be kaboom. Okay, but anyway, so then they end by saying, pay the report. The suit seeks unpaid wages, as well as interest on the unpaid wages, unpaid overtime, and other employee benefits at the legal rate. Now, talking about Megan having these crazy freak-off-like situations, reminding me of Diddy. Of course, this is not at the Diddy level. Nobody was being forced to, you know what I mean? Like, he wasn't forced to have sex with someone else, as is the case with Diddy, as they allege Diddy did with other people, right? It's unfortunate if this happened to Emilio Garcia, but some people are saying he's just a disgruntled employee. But even if he is, that doesn't mean he's lying. Remember, disgruntled employees usually tell all your secrets, okay? Now, let's continue to some of the things that the neighborhood talk did not talk about. The pay structure, how it changed. Garcia was being paid $4,000 a month. Let's just say he was salaried. He alleges in the lawsuit that after what he witnessed in the car, everything changed from the way Megan treated him. And then he went from $4,000 a month to, we're going to pay you per job. Before the pay structure change, he said that even though he was employed as a cameraman in 2018, he did more than just cameraman work. He ran errands for Megan. If Megan wanted her dog walked, he walked the dog. If Megan wanted an egg fried, he did it. Whatever Megan wanted him to do, he had to do. Usually when you're employed, you have a job description, and at the end of your job description, it says, and other assignments that are not specifically described here. So, I mean, that's part of any job, right? You know what I'm talking about. But then he also says he worked a lot of overtime. Unfortunately, that happens when you are salaried. It's different from somebody who clocks in hourly. You know that when you're salaried, you can work less than 8 hours a day, and there are certain days you're gonna work more than 8 hours a day. He went from $4,000 a month And then after this incident in Spain, him watching Megan having sex with another woman. Oh, and women were like, oh my God, Megan. And I'm like, what's so surprising? When you see these girls twerking, what do you think is happening? I mean, oftentimes we're like, oh no, that's just for music videos. That's just business. Just because they're being very sexual in their videos or talking about things they want to do, twerking, showing off their bedroom skills, we often try to just say, oh, that's entertainment. They're just doing that to sell music. It's a very competitive industry. But you must think that a little bit of what we see in their videos or their so-called celebrity personas, they bring their real selves or their real lives in their videos, right? There's some part of realness in those videos that we think is just business or they're just acting. I mean, look at Diddy, right? There are things that Diddy did or said in the lyrics of his songs that we thought, oh, that's rap music. They say such crap. Look what happened, right? Diddy is in a whole lot of trouble. And lately, we've seen prosecutors, especially when it comes to rappers, using the lyrics against them. There's a little bit of them in their work. Megan, when she sat down with Young Miami, real name Carisha, Young Miami in a whole lot of trouble, okay? Career going like this, okay? She sat down with Young Miami, Carisha, on her show, which Carisha had through Diddy, the Revolt channel, which Diddy has stepped down from. Diddy has basically been kicked off that network. They did talk about Megan sleeping with women. She said she does. Megan takes pleasure wherever it comes from. She doesn't care. She made it clear with Carisha. And at one time, they were feeling each other with Carisha, the way they were looking each other down like, let's make it happen tonight. She said it. So I'm not surprised because she's been very open about that. She goes both ways, men and women. And I can understand why the guy was uncomfortable. Just looking at some of the images I've seen online, the guy looks like he's gay. So I could see why he's offended. He doesn't find women sexually attractive. Imagine watching people you don't find sexually attractive getting into it. It's like, no. So after he went from 4,000 to, I'm everywhere, guys. I'm just coming back. So getting back in the rhythm of YouTube, it takes some time. So he goes from 4,000 and they tell him, you know what? We're now going to pay you paid job. And I think at that time, in my opinion, he was thinking, yes, I love this new pay structure because I work a lot of long hours, a lot of overtime. I do a lot of things that have nothing to do with my position. So given that we're going to go to this new structure, I get paid for every job I do. I might get overtime and get paid for the other things that are not in my job title. What he didn't know or understand was they were phasing him out. Now, this is happening after the Spain trip and he saw what he saw. They start to phase him out. They're not calling him as often for jobs. So he's not even making the $4,000 he used to make before. His pay is just going like this. And at times they just don't call him at all. In June, he was thinking of quitting because, the job was just not there anymore. But I guess he got fired. Okay? Now, all of these are allegations. We don't know what's true, but one thing that rings true to me about this lawsuit is that Megan is having sex with women. Now, did Megan do it in the car? I don't know, but it's plausible to me, right? Megan comes off like a freak to me. Isn't it Megan slept with her friend's boyfriend? Megan, I think, is just, she's having that time of her life where she's sleeping with any and everything, to be quite honest. That's how it comes across to me. And she's young, she's rich, she's famous. She's having a time of her life. She just needs to be careful because such things can happen. And she shouldn't find herself in the position of Diddy, of having freak-offs with people or forcing people to do things that are sexually inappropriate, right? This guy was trapped in a car to basically watch corn with a P. That's what it is, right? The other two women in the car should be able to testify if this story is true. The biggest drama king, gossip king, or is it queen? 50 Cent always has something to say. I always ask myself, when does 50 have time to run his businesses that are seemingly so successful and still pay attention to gossip? Like, this guy is on top of gossip more than I am, honestly, as you can see. Anyway, he's probably hired people to run businesses and he's entertained by being messy. 50 says that this cameraman needs to be punched in the head. I'm like, what? So 50 says, photographer suing Megan should be punched in the head, case thrown out. So he said, this cameraman and the lawyer who made this claim should be punched in the head. I'm sorry. Two women start making out. I'm not offended, he says. This case is thrown out of my court. But Diddy, but 50, you are a straight man who likes seeing women make out. Like I said, this guy looks like a gay guy. There's nothing interesting to him about women being intimate. There's nothing he finds sexually attractive about women. So I could understand why he was offended. Anyway, I can just imagine what happens in Leonardo DiCaprio's home because he likes them young. That guy, he's a good actor, but I'm telling you, something is off about Leonardo DiCaprio. Very off. At the time of this recording, Megan has not responded. So if she has, let me know what she said in the comment section. Guys, don't forget to like, share, subscribe until our next video. Bye.